Hi, this is Chuck Wolf, and you're listening to WPKN, the Emotion Roadmap, Take the Wheel and Control How You Feel. Today's show, I have a couple of guests with me, and we're going to talk about a group that's an unusual group, I think, one I hadn't heard about before, but I've known Deborah Randolph Price for a very long time, and she's one of the guests that we're going to have on. I want to talk about her and her partner in this, and the movement is called Soulas, kind of like doula, and it's about transformation, and I'll let them explain more about it when we get to them. But I want to say a little bit about Michaele White-Risbrook and then Deborah Randolph Price. So let me say a little bit to introduce them. And thank you all for listening, and thank you for tuning in. And again, the show is the Emotion Roadmap, Take the Wheel and Control How You Feel, and it's on WPKN 89.5 FM in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and it's also streaming on WPKN.org. So for Michaele, she's worked a long time in healthcare service as a family nurse practitioner, health administrator, and advocate for adolescents and women's healthcare. She's been caring for each person holistically, attending to body, mind, and spirit. She says Deborah and she shared 20 years together as part of a spiritual support sister circle, which has taught us the invaluable gifts of true sisterhood. In 2016, they co-founded Soulas. Soulas is the medium that has allowed her to share the power, the wisdom, and the inspiration of our ancestors, as well as her own life lessons of overcoming challenges and rising higher. I remain committed to sharing the vital lessons of self-love, self-care, sisterhood, and claiming and birthing dreams. Soulas is a natural outgrowth of her passion as a life coach. Her coaching philosophy is to help clients to discover and live their purpose. She challenges clients to be more of who they are or who they were created to be so they can reach higher levels of fulfillment in their lives. And then she's had a number of different kinds of opportunities and positions in life that I'll let her tell you a little bit about if she'd like to. And I'd like to talk about Deborah Randolph Price, who has been a colleague and friend for many years. Deborah and I worked together for a period of time at Hartford Insurance. We're in the leadership and the management and corporate training group. Deborah's also co-founder and empowerment facilitator. And one of her most gratifying life experiences also was being a member of a spiritual group where, of course, she met Michaele and became Soulas co-founder. For 20 years, this group of powerful, positive women, the previous group, inspired and supported each other through life's events. She found her calling in teaching. The passion began as a classroom teacher in the Virgin Islands and later as a corporate trainer in the United States and abroad. She has evolved into a personal development coach. Soulas has fueled her passion to encourage, inspire, and empower others to stretch into their unlimited potential. So that's a bit about the two women. I'll say a bit about the network. It's a community, a movement of fostering and empowering relationships by using the power of sisterhood as a catalyst for transformation for women. Challenges women to be more of who they were meant to be, to reach higher levels of fulfillment in their lives, and to access the powerful, resourceful individual within. It supports women as they discover, claim, and give birth to the longings of their souls. In summary, the four pillars of the network are creating a sisterhood, providing a safe, sacred space, supporting self-actualization, and providing growth, providing support and growth. They're going to have a couple of guests join us a little later in the show. And when the guests come on board, I'll ask them to introduce the two guests. One of the things I'd like to say to our listeners is that I always like to have a show that has something inspirational, uplifting, something upbeat. And when I heard Deborah tell me a little bit about her work and then met Michaele, I thought it'd be inspirational to a lot of people who are thinking about what next, where am I in life? You know, what has happened to me over the years, and am I in a place where I want to be? Is there still time for me to live some of the dreams that I had when I was younger? Have my dreams changed? Are there things going on for me that really are questions in my mind and I don't know where to find answers for them? And so I asked Deborah and Michaele not only to talk about their group, but also to talk about maybe some of the lessons. So as you're listening to the show, I like to leave listeners with tips about things that they can do now. It doesn't mean you have to join their organization, but hopefully over the course of the hour that I'm on the air, and we're on the show, the show's on the air the first and second Wednesdays of each month from 12 noon to 1 p.m. on WPKN. And in this show, I always like to try to provide people with either answers to the questions they may have about life's challenges, or to bring on speakers, I think, who answer some general questions that many of us have about life's challenges. And that's what I propose to do this morning. So I guess I'll start with Michaele, since I introduced you first, Michaele, and then ask you to talk a little bit about it and invite Deborah to join you. So Michaele, would you like to talk a little bit about how you and Deborah started this journey together?
Yes, I very much would. Actually, our journeys started very early by having a similarity of growing up in public housing. I grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Unbeknownst to me, my sister of choice grew up in Brooklyn. And the life experience that I had there in the public housing projects was something that taught me huge lessons about having a community of women who showed me possibilities, that showed me the importance of having a sisterhood, of actually pointing to and discovering my dreams, despite what the society around me was telling me about what is possible. So that's where the seed was planted for me and really allowed me to know very early at age 5 that I was going to really have the opportunity to share that learning and to be all that I could be. And that was a very powerful lesson that I knew it was my purpose in life to continue to share.
So this started way back when you were little and just a small child in a housing project, and you began to have sort of visualize this powerful opportunity that was to come years later. Interesting.
Yes, yes.
How
And
about giving Deborah a chance then? Deborah, you want to take a chance to
Well,
talk about
yeah,
your beginnings here?
yeah. Well, as you said in the introduction, for me, teaching has always been in my spirit. And I think it came from initially knowing that my mom had gone to college, my mom and my auntie had gone to college to become a teacher. And so I said, oh, that sounds good. And then I always found myself in the position in grade school of helping to tutor other children. And then by the time I became a teenager, I worked as a camp counselor. So from then the seed really started, growing, blossoming in terms of being an encourager, of being of service. I didn't look at it as that way, but I knew that I felt good when the kids were doing well and they were having fun. And so through the years, deciding, going to school, University of Connecticut, that I would, major in elementary education and then go on for my master's in special ed, et cetera, I found myself always in the position of encouraging, of helping others to become more than they might have thought they could become, but just being there as a catalyst. And so I took that through my corporate experience as well, Chuck, and leadership development, et cetera. And so once I met Michaele and got involved in the group, that seed just continued to grow. And at that point, it was really more internal, learning more about myself and what I wanted out of life and what my gifts and talents were. And that was okay to focus on myself. And that's when the notion of self-care came up. That's when the notion of, being able to trust other women and using that as your support, system, So it's a process. I just want to emphasize with the listeners that growing, your personal growth, you're never there. When you're there, you're dead. So, it doesn't matter, whether you're, 40, 50, 60, your life is continuing. We're life learners, and every day gives us an opportunity to learn something new, to do it differently and without judgment. So that's where I'm at right now.
So tell me, let me stay with you, Deborah, and then we'll go back to Michaele. Tell me a little bit about how doula became Soulas.
All right.
How
Yes.
that showed up for you folks.
I'll talk about the name and let Michele tell you how it all came about. You know, as I said, we were we were in this group together, and eventually, after 20 years, kind of disbanded. Although we're still in touch with the other, 8 women. But Michele and I just had this notion. Let's continue to share what we learned in the other group that we had been in for 20 years. And this notion of birthing the longings of your soul, of having those dreams, Chuck, you mentioned about, we get to a certain stage and say, oh, I used to play the piano and I never got to it. I became a mother, I became a father, whatever, life happened. So we said, there are dreams that we have that maybe we don't even know we haven't claimed them, we haven't recognized them. So we went down that path. And then we found the word doula. Doula helps women birth, through the birthing process. And we thought, why don't we think about our mission as being a support to women as they recognize and claim the birthing of their souls. And so instead of doula, we came Soula. It's spelled Soulas. Not Soulas, but Soulas, because it's connected to the word doula. And so that's how we came up with that name and the concept in our mission.
And Michele, you want to pick up from there and talk a little bit more about it, about the origins?
Yes. As Deborah said, that 20-year journey of meeting once a month with very powerful women who were on the same both individual and collective journey to really uncover longings that were there and waiting to be uncovered, and supporting each other and by challenging each other and being each other's cheerleaders was such a powerful experience that it was almost something that was hard to describe. The word sisterhood or sister circles or whatever is one that has become very mainstream. But we had such a powerful connection that we could be out at a restaurant just sitting around eating, and we've had people come over and say, excuse me, what is happening here? That they could feel the power of our connection and of our support of one another. So we wanted to find a way, like, how do we describe and pass on the power of what it is that we learn. So that's how we started. And I think Deborah and I felt that individual connection to each other very, very early, even within the group, and knew from the beginning that there was something more that the two of us were going to do to take it to the next level. So that's how we started, actually by a challenge, because we talked about it and we knew about it for years. And we happened to go to a workshop together, and we were going around in a circle, and the workshop leader said, okay, what is it you, Michele, want to do? And I think I said something like, I want to do empowerment work with women. And this was the end of October. And she challenged me and said, okay, by mid-December, you will have a gathering of at least a dozen women. And do you take the challenge on? And this is definitely an example of being open, because within 7 days we had a prime conference site donated for free on a Saturday in Midtown Manhattan, had sketched out what our workshop would look like, had a list of invitees, and on December 16th, I believe, of 2016, we actually had our first gathering. So I am so grateful for all of the learning that happened in those 20 years together, and knowing that that dream and that longing was fulfilled. It seemed like in an instant, someone challenging me to make something happen, and it did. So that was the beginning of us actually putting feet on those prayers we had.
So that's kind of transformational itself. You're sort of modeling what you're hoping to help other women with. It seems like.
Yes, 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 yes. At
And
the
when
beginning,
when exactly did you start? When was the actual beginning date for your group to actually start?
that was
December
December
of 2016.
16th.
I'm sorry. Mhm.
No, no,
So it was like this is your fifth year in business. Is it? Now I don't think it was always a business though, right? It started sort of as kind of something that you just wanted to do together, and then at some point, I think I remember Debbie, you mentioned that at some point you decided, we want to be more formal, a little more serious about it, and then I think that happened in the last few years. Is that correct?
yes. Well, we continued to grow as people started attending beyond our friends and family, and so we started increasing, the number of people who were coming to our events. And, we said maybe we should formalize this in some way. And so this past January of 2021, we became a membership organization. Anybody can come, but of course there are benefits that come along with that. So yeah, we've formalized it in the sense that, we've got retreats that we do on a regular basis, and we have monthly events as well. So yeah, we've morphed into, a more organized organization.
And I think it's open. I think you started to say this, Michelle, earlier about the age range is pretty. Is there any limits on age in terms of? I don't know. I suppose at some point maybe you don't have 13-year-olds, but I mean, is it like 18 and older, or is there any? Is that the way you think about it?
Yes, I mean we've had Deborah, who's been the youngest? I would say
Youngest has been
20.
26. No, 22, because we
Yeah.
have a couple of college age young ladies who attend. Yeah.
Right. All the way up to 80s, because
Interesting.
it really is about bringing women together, and the commonality of wanting that connection, to be in a safe place where women feel comfortable and safe to be and share who they are, to be heard, to be celebrated, which is something really big and important in this society. Life events and are not celebrated in the way that they are in other cultures, so that women aren't always as in touch with their worthiness, with things that need to be celebrated and shared. So that is a very common that is a commonality that goes across all age groups. And we are amazed each time that we bring women together. It could be 30 women that don't even never met each other. And they come together. We share the importance of the space that we are sharing. And right away, there is that comfort for people to be really in touch with who they are and feel comfortable in sharing and supporting each other.
Yeah.
So that's I mean I know that I raised three daughters, and I've been married for a long time, and the things that women experience are different than what men experience. Actually, I don't know if you've ever heard the woman's name before, but there's a woman who wrote a book that it's about men and women, and you just don't understand. It was a New York Times bestseller for a number of years, and her name is Deborah Tannen, and she's been outstanding at writing about the different ways men and women communicate, and the challenge. She wrote a book about talking 9 to 5 in the workplace, and she looks at the kind of challenges women face. But I used to be an elementary school counselor in the very beginning of my career, and I remember young girls really challenged on the self-esteem issues for lots of different reasons. And it seems like you're kind of helping people to deal with some of those distinct challenges that women face. I mean, we all face it, men and women, but I think women have some unique challenges that men don't. And I'm not the first one to say that, I know. And it sounds like your group is very helpful around that.
Yeah. I think the benefit of the different age groups helps as well, because the younger women can see the vulnerability of the I call them more seasoned, not older, but the more seasoned women, that this life is a process, that the things we go through as, young teens, young women, and the struggles, if you can make it through, you're going to see, and this is what we talk about a lot, that life is really a series of stepping stones and decision points, that impact your life. And so along the way, though, you're learning more about yourself. And then on the other end, we have the older women who are saying, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Then they listen to the younger women and realize the things that they have learned in the sphere of life challenges are now something they can share and that they've learned from. So everybody benefits, everyone benefits, and it's a realization, it's an enlightenment, and that's where the sharing comes in. And as Michelle said, it's really amazing to see how quickly people feel safe enough to share those kinds of things. And these are total strangers, and maybe therein also is anonymity, and so they feel comfortable about sharing as opposed to people that know them too. So, we just always are mindful of creating that space.
We have a guest that's been waiting to get in, so I feel like it's probably a good time to invite her in. This is Lisa, and I think we had said maybe come a little later, but she's been here for a couple of minutes, so I'm going to let her in. Maybe you can introduce her and then ask her to talk a little bit about her experiences with you.
Sure.
Let me connect to her.
Oh, my favorite people. Hi.
Lisa.
Hello, ladies.
Lisa.
Hello, sir. How are
Hello.
you? Let me change my background so I'm not a compass. How's that? Nice to meet you.
Well, at least we'll know where to find you. Oh, well.
Yes, you will. Just look at the compass.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. You're interviewing
meet
two
you.
amazing women.
Thank you. I'll ask one of you to want to introduce Lisa, or just say a little bit about Lisa, and then, and Kim is here too. So let me let Kim in a minute.
Okay.
That's nice. We had decided we'd have a couple of guests on. By the way, you're listening to WPKN 89.5 FM, listener-supported radio. Thank you all for listening. And we have on Deborah and Michaele talking about Soulas. We'll talk a little bit about that again, maybe just because we have people tuning in at different times. So maybe we'll start with that. If one of you would like to just share a little bit about Soulas and then say a little bit about Lisa and Kim, and so people know why they're here and what they're going to be talking about, that'd be great. Deborah, Michaele, would one of you want to pick that up? Which one would you like to do?
I'll start by introducing them, and Kim Ellison just came on.
Hello, Kim.
Hi.
Hey, Kim.
We selected these two women because they exemplify the purpose of Soulas, and I thought would excitingly articulate the mission. But let me first start with Lisa Strahs-Lorenc, who is CEO of Career Compass. And she is an entrepreneur. She is a marketing maven. If you need to know anything about branding yourself, she is the person to do it. But she's been an educator as well for years. And she's been coming to Soulas now about 3 years. About 3 years, I would say. Yeah, at least. And we also have Kim Ellison, who is a free tired. Again, this is another word. Words are important. We never say retired. We say free tired. You're free to do what you want when you want to do it. And she is doing that. But she is a free tired speech pathologist. Am I correct, Kim?
Speech and language pathologist.
Yes, yes. Both women hail from all of us actually from Long Island, New York. So right across the pond, Chuck.
Okay.
And Kim, you've been with us now. It's about 4 years, 3 to 4 years. Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. About that. Michelle, do you want to add anything?
No, but I am so grateful to both of you for joining us today.
So Michelle, could you just again, because people join at different times when they're listening to shows. So you want to talk a little bit about Soulas itself, and then Lisa and Kim, we were hoping that you could talk a little bit about your experiences after Michelle tells us a little bit about the organization again, and just what the experience has been like for you, why you joined, what expectations you had, and what's actually happening that caused you to stay for several years. Michelle, would you like to start though with just a little bit about kind of going over what you'd said earlier about what Soulas is?
All right. Hi. Okay. So the Soulas Sisterhood Network is really a network and a community that brings women together to help them claim and birth the longings that they have for what it is that they want for their lives. And we came together on purpose to be able to bring women together in an atmosphere of sisterhood and support, and in a space that feels safe for women to authentically be who they are, to be able to express themselves, support each other, and to celebrate each other. So we are a community that is open to women of all ages to be able to come together to discover being more of who they were created to be. So we are also a place and a community that has lots of fun with each other. So it may sound deep, but it's also a lot of fun. So we have selected these two members to perhaps give you a taste of what their experience has been.
Okay, would one of you care to start? Lisa, you just logged in a little bit earlier. So Lisa, if you don't mind, you want to start, and then we'll go to Kim?
Sure, I'll jump in. So I'll take us back to the 60s of women consciousness raising. And I think in terms of how we tried to find ourselves and be our best selves, etc. And here we are in the 21st century with a few more challenges, I guess, in our lives at this stage in our lives. And to find a place to be with women, shared concerns, challenges, lifestyles, interesting backgrounds. This has been created by two incredibly gifted people. Okay, there are coaches. I know many coaches. I know life coaches. These women have put together a safe space for people. My experience has been amazing on a monthly basis to come and be with women that I would not normally know or have any association with. And in breakout sessions, talk about very deep and interesting topics like love in February, or acronyms that they have for different things like peace. And there's all kinds of acronyms of what that means. And deal with important issues that face us and dreams that we have, places that we want to be in our lives, different kinds of things that we'd like to accomplish. So we do that on a monthly basis. But then there are these special events. We went to an island called the Soulas Island, and only these two could make it so incredibly visual. We're in a plane. We have our desserts and stuff, and people come and take care of us. We get to the island. We're all dressed up and everything. I mean, the images and everything they put together just brings you to that place and allows you the opportunity to be and to do what you can do. Now, afterwards, here's what's important. You've experienced all this wonderful time and special opportunity, but afterwards, they follow up. They ask you about accountability. We have accountability partners, which I still have, by the way. I have 3 of them now because of the different events I've gone to. So I check in with my accountability partner to make sure that what I had said I was going to do or what I was trying to, to accomplish gets done. And again, that's their support and effort to make sure that it is happening. That doesn't happen very often to anybody. But again, the enjoyment of it, I mean, we have fun, but in the process of having fun, we're actually growing and we're actually being the best that we can be of ourselves. And, you don't have to be, completely self-actualized to be able to understand that we all want to live a great life. And we all want to be happy in our lives, but each of us need to capture this in our own unique way. And these 2 women have given us the opportunity to do that. And every month I look forward to seeing everyone again, to being that collaborative group, that sisterhood. It really is the best sisterhood. We come from all parts of the country, sometimes in the world, and yet we're talking about things that we all identify with, we all believe in, and we all are trying to figure out all our common challenges. It's just, I have to tell you, it's such a privilege and so wonderful to be able to be part of this. And I'm grateful for the 2 of them.
Well, thank you, Lisa. It sounds like a really inclusive, wonderful place where people get to realize, as you mentioned, Michelle and Deborah, your dreams. It sounds like you get a chance to talk through challenging and difficult issues, and also feel, as you said, Lisa, in a very safe space to do so. Great, Kim, you want to talk a little bit about your experiences with the group?
Okay, so I had the privilege of meeting Discipline Deborah at the chiropractor's office, and we hit it off right. Well, actually, we met at a dinner that the chiropractor gave, and we connected instantly and became very friendly. And we just started meeting and talking, and upon that friendship grew so many other things, like just discussions about life and anger and disappointment. And Deborah invited me into this group of Soulas. And from the moment I went, and it couldn't have been a better time, because I was struggling with so many things at that point when I first started with Deborah and Michelle. And the first thing when I went to their first main event, I think it was October, I left there feeling so light and joy-filled, which all my life, I just I was happy, but it was like that inner joy wasn't there. And they opened doors for me. And I was struggling with resentment and disappointment and being an ingrate and all of those things. And they showed me how to first connect with my spirituality and grow from there. They showed me that it was okay to love myself. It wasn't selfish, it was self-loving. They opened doors for healing for me. I struggled with resentment of certain family members. And because of these beautiful women, I was able to heal and just love people where they are and not where I think they need to be. And every time I talk about this, I well up because it makes me so grateful and happy, because they have added so much growth in my life. This journey that I'm on right now is because they've taught me the reality of having a morning meditation or a devotional and centering yourself and letting God take over and knowing that the voice inside is the voice that we need to listen to. And being happy and kind and loving and having joy and finding your little girl inside and being that little girl and being happy. Like they sent us a picture of them eating ice cream. You know, how simply joyful is that act? And I just am so thankful to have been blessed with the friendships that I have gotten from this circle of women who come from all ways, all different types of lives and backgrounds and education and where they are in life. We have young girls who are just finishing school and who are going where we've been. And the joy of having that commonality of being able to know that we all have gifts, we all are lovable. They just affirm all the great things that we have and tell us to go on and get it, girl. Go ahead and get it. And I am just so thankful for Soulas and the friendships that I've gotten just being in this circle of sisters.
So,
and I think I've said enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, nice choices, Deborah and Michaele, on the people you've chosen to represent your group.
We know our people.
Yeah.
Did you tell her about
both...
the attributes that we have?
No, why don't you do that?
Yeah, very interesting. We get attributes, meaning some kind of designated description or characteristic. And the first time I saw mine, I looked and I said, wow, that's amazing. They get it. It comes to them from, I guess, who we are. And mine is kindness. And such a beautiful attribute. And people have said to me many times, oh, you're so kind. You're so, and I say, wow, you know, they found the right word for me because people feel that way. But the attributes for each of us are just so incredibly gifting and personal. Go ahead, Kim, your attribute.
All right, so the thing is that when we walk into the first meeting that we have, we pick an attribute and we don't know what we're picking. And the thing that Deborah and Michaele tell us is this is an attribute that we may have or we may be endeavoring to grow to be. And my attribute is powerful. So there are times when I am very powerful, and there are times when I need to learn how to use that power and teach people to have the power within. So however we do it, we pick the right attribute, and it helps to guide us in life.
Interesting. One of the things of this show is about is helping people to understand the power of feelings. So some of the work that I've done over the years in this world of emotional intelligence is that feelings drive thoughts, drive behaviors. And it seems like the work that you're doing is really driving the feelings. It's really going back and touching you in very special ways and creating a very positive feeling base for you to operate from. And I think that seems like a common theme I'm hearing both from Deborah and Michaele early on, as well as from you, Lisa, and from you, Kim. And those feelings can be different. They aren't always the same, but they can be purposeful. As you pointed out, Kim, you know, at times, how do you use that power in constructive ways? And kindness is what a virtue, what a great gift to be around somebody who's kind, because that means you're thinking about others and concerned about others. And in this world where we're learning that empathy is so powerful as a notion, one of the interesting ideas about empathy is empathy only matters if you're empathically concerned about others. Just feeling what somebody else feels or knowing what somebody else feels, if you don't care and you're not concerned, doesn't really matter all that much. So I think some of the things that you're both talking about, hopefully all the people listening today are listening and getting some understanding of the power of support groups. In your particular case, it sounds like Deborah and Michaele have been incredibly creative and supportive and gifted in helping you to realize some of the dreams that you hope to realize. And I talk a lot about the best possible version of ourselves. And when I'm doing my own coaching with leaders and different organizations, it's often about how do you get to be the best possible version of you? And that's compelling in a different way than saying, hey, stop doing that. You know, that's counterproductive, and that just creates defensiveness. But if you got people thinking about who's the best possible version of themselves, and then looking to see, and how do I get there? How does my journey take me to this place where I'm the best possible version of ourselves? So that seems to be sort of what the goal of your organization is, and it seems like it's working really well. Deborah and Michelle, thoughts about after listening to Lisa and Kim, what strikes you about what you're hearing?
Well, Michelle and I, well, I speak to myself, I'm levitating at this point because to hear, it's a reaffirmation actually of the work that we're doing, and that it seems to be effective because, as you say, wanting to become the best iteration of ourselves is the work, is the purpose, is our passion. And so if we can pass that on to others, again, I started by saying, you know, we're encouragers. And so, and just letting people know it's okay. We are where we are, we start where we are, you know. There's always an opportunity to do it different, better, step by step, without judgment. And it does help to have what we call a posse. Actually, it's an inner circle, you know. If you're blessed enough to have an inner circle of 1 or 2 or 3 friends, you're blessed. And, you know, use that. That's a real opportunity for support. But to have, you know, in circle. In this day and time, with there's so much happening and the changes, you know, the pandemic, et cetera, and so on, making us think differently and question ourselves, where we are. Having that posse or that special circle is critical to your self-health, you know.
Great. And Michelle, your thoughts as you listen?
Yes, I am levitating too, that to be able to have the feedback about knowing that I am living and trying to share my purpose with others. So to be able to hear back is extremely affirming. And my attribute is dignity. And I just love it. When I even say my attribute, it makes me sit up a little taller. And to be able to also share my attribute with women in helping them to identify and celebrate their worthiness, as my partner discipline says, to celebrate enoughness where you are, not, well, when I get there. It is the celebration of enoughness on your road to becoming even more. And I continue to learn from my attribute, which is dignity. And that's kind of why we give people attributes as another tool for them to really learn more about themselves and each other. So I'm also glad to get the feedback from kindness and powerful about how you've been served by your attributes.
What an interesting point you make about celebrating where you are and enoughness. Some of the work I've done over the year, my radio show is usually about people calling in with life challenges that they face. And I use this concept that I've developed called an emotion roadmap to help guide them through how to look at how you're feeling and is it how you want to feel? And if how you're feeling isn't helpful or it's even some kind of obstacle to getting to where you need to go, what can you do different? But one of the things people struggle with often is perfection and wanting to be perfect. And especially when big events come up and you want to get it so right. And one of the actual shows, I did a show all about just being good enough is perfect. Because when you put yourself under the pressure to have to realize the dream, to be the best possible version of yourself, and you're not there yet, well, but you're striving towards it. You're making steps, you're making progress, and celebrating where you are, Michelle, is a wonderful idea. I mean, it's just such a nice concept to, about it. I hadn't heard the word enoughness before, but I really like that a lot. Where you are is enough. At the same time, you can aspire to other things, to greater goals, to being, to whatever it is that might be in front of you that you also want to achieve over your journey in life. That's really nice too. Other thoughts people have?
These two are very creative people. They come up with acronyms that I've never heard before. It's pretty amazing. Ask them about peace, what we just did last time. It's really, I mean, peace, right? And yet there's something with acronyms for that. Tell us about the peace. Go ahead.
Okay. You want me to
Yeah.
start?
Go ahead.
Okay. So everyone understands the concept of peace with the letter C, about calmness, about stillness, maybe about solitude. But thinking about a wider explanation or iteration of peace, look at the other letters. P, playfulness. Does not thinking about all out abandon and playfulness bring you peace. The E, around enoughness. All right. So the being able to celebrate and be okay with being in enough. The A is about allowing. It's allowing, the freedom of allowing. And we're back to the C of the calm to continue to explore what that means. And the E, the last E, is for energy flow, that we know that peace also comes with the energy of physical activity, of allowing whatever is flowing through your body. You can think in terms of yoga. You could think in terms of other energy of creativity. So we came up with that and had people go into workout groups, particularly to work on the 4 elements of playfulness, enoughness, allowing, and energy flow. And they did tremendous work in coming up with how that could help with embracing peace. So they helped us so that the very next time that we bring a workshop on peace, that they provided a lot of very helpful information that we shared with the group and will be shared with women more widely. So
Let me just interject that all this happens happened last Tuesday. In a 1-hour session we do once a month, third Tuesday. Yes. And so it's all virtual, all of our sessions. That's been the benefit of this lockdown, is everything's virtual. So we do get women from all over, overseas, UK, across the country, California, everyone's chiming in. And so we did this exercise on last Tuesday, whatever date that was, and we put them in breakout rooms. And so women 3, 4 at a time are talking about these things and having fun with it. So yeah, so we have fun, we go deep, and people get from it what they need. But by the same token, we're learning also, because Michelle and I are still on the journey. As I said, you're never there. So we continue on. We learn from them just as much as they're learning from us.
Well, I'm very impressed, Michelle, that you remembered what the acronym stood for. That was a powerful moment. And also that, and again, you included that enoughness in there, playfulness. All of it sounds really intriguing. I guess we're coming close to the end of the hour, so I wanted to make sure we talked about, if people are interested in knowing more about and learning more about your organization and belonging to your organization, would one of you want to just talk about how do they do that? How do people get more connected to you? How do they find out more about you? And what would you recommend are these steps that the people should follow if they're interested in, again, exploring more, knowing more, and also participating?
If they want to know more, they can go to our website, www.birththelongings, BirthTheLongings.com, Birth the Longings, right? Also, they can just email us at SoulasSisters.com, SoulasSisters@gmail.com, SoulasSistahs@gmail.com. So those two ways. If you're on Facebook, I'm going to leave the social media. Maybe Lisa, she's our social media maven, but we are on Facebook and Instagram as well.
So
Okay.
it's Soulas Sisters, and it's SOULAS, just the one S, and then ISTERS, Soulas Sisters.
No.
Oh, TAS, TAH, or TAHS?
TAHS.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
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 Just wanted to mention also that we do post our events on Eventbrite. So the Tuesday, the third Tuesday of the month is, we call it Tug Tuesday, Turn Up Your Glow. And GLOW, we are the queens of acronyms. GLOW stands for Gratefully Living and Owning Your Worth. So just in what was described for the last session that we had, that's a 1 hour session. So we meet for 1 hour and 15 minutes, the third Thursday of the month. So we do post always to Eventbrite, but the best way to get to social media and to contact us, get on the mailing list, is through our website, www.birththelongings.com.
I'm going to have to say goodbye, but I want to thank you folks for being part of this this opportunity to present Soulas to the nation and to the world. It'll be available on YouTube and on podcasts, and I'll send you the links when it's published. And it'll be aired over the radio show probably in 1 week or the next week. I'll let you know the dates. Thank you so much for being our guest today. Very nice to meet all of you, and Deborah, great to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So much.
Okay, bye everybody.
All right,
Bye.
bye.